that should be it. So we should be good to proceed.
I'd like to call to order the December 10th, 2020 meeting of the Seward Historic Preservation Commission.
Alright, George, what am I doing wrong here?
Oh, are you dialing 9?
I am.
Try not dialing 9. Okay.
Do you have any advice?
I do
I tried it both ways. Dialing it in first and then hitting dial and then doing new call.
Okay.
Sorry for the inconvenience, Vice Chair.
Don't worry about it. If the on button doesn't work for me, that's the extent of my knowledge. And it wouldn't surprise me if it's...
There's been a need to get reset after other camera outages.
No, it's just,
It just worked
Hey.
last night, right?
it's just something that they know how to do that I don't, because I don't deal with these very much. There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Welcome to the GCI Conference Center.
Thank
Please
you.
enter your access code followed by the pound sign. Thank you. Please stand by. If you are the chairperson, press the star key now. Please enter your chairperson passcode, then press pound. You will now be placed into conference. There are 4 participants in the conference.
Okay. Madam Chair?
Should we do a roll call first? Roll call first? Pledge
Okay.
first. Okay, we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'm going to lead it because I'm the only one here. So stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
LeBrecq?
Here.
Furlong?
Here.
Benoit?
Here.
And Ward is present.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you have a
A
quorum?
quorum. Good. Before we get started, I'm going to read the HP...
Valerie's here too as
Oh.
well. Thank you.
Thank you, Valerie. I'm going to read the HP meeting guidelines for attending the meeting telephonically, and this is how the meeting will run. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, many meetings are being conducted telephonically. This is a new concept for many people, and we want to make sure that the meetings are running as smoothly and efficiently as possible. In an effort to achieve these goals, I have created meeting guidelines for attending meetings telephonically. The chair will read these guidelines at the beginning of each meeting. We would appreciate everyone's cooperation and assistance in implementing these meeting guidelines. The chair will call on each commissioner individually to provide their input on each agenda item. Please wait to be recognized by the chair before speaking. Always identify yourself when you are speaking. Everyone should mute their phones when they are not speaking. Wait for one person to finish before speaking. Everyone gets a say on each agenda topic, but the chair will call each person individually by name to have their turn to speak. If you do not have a response, then simply say no comment. Be respectful of everyone's time and allow them the opportunity to answer any questions they have been asked without interruptions. Okay? Are there any citizen comments on any subject except for the items scheduled for public hearing?
Madam Vice Chair, we do have 2 comments.
Okay,
One is the email that I will read, and then the other one will be a phone call.
super.
Your first comment is from Mary Lynn Barnwell, Inside City Limits, referencing the walking tour quest. My name is Mary Lynn Barnwell. My phone number is 907, well, I'm not going to say her phone number out loud. I would like to inform the Historical Preservation Commission that a quest of the City of Seward murals has already been completed by Seward Elementary and Middle School students as well as their parents during the spring of 2017. It was a large cooperative project with many people involved, including some of the mural artists. A little background behind this project is that Jen Howe and myself took a teaching course that promoted projects surrounding the Iditarod Trail. We were taught by Judy Bittner and Delia Clark, and we modeled our project using information from Questing by Delia Clark. Our quest was never published. The school year ended, and I temporarily left the country for a different teaching position. Most importantly, we never secured the funding for continuation of quest materials to share with the community as well as visitors. I would love to share our quest with you and would like to look forward to working together to refine the project into a working, published, ongoing project that would highlight the wonderful murals in our town. Please call me if you have any questions. This is very exciting. Thank you, Mary Lynn Barnwell. And then I can share that later with you. And the second one will be from Jen Howe, also referencing the walking tour quest, and I'll give her a call now. Hi, is this Jen?
Yes, it is.
Hi, this is Karen with the Seward City Clerk's office. If I could just ask you if you have the stream in the background to please mute it, and we are ready for your comments.
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up with kind of what Mary Lynn Barnwell had written, and she contacted me this morning and said that she had seen Judy Rittner's name and Delia Clark's name on there, and it was like, oh my gosh, we used Delia's work and did a quest already with the kids, and we got together with Mr. Barnwell's middle school kids in 2017, and we had the kids go around the town and with Justine Petchuzal as well as Jennifer Hetzke, and the first day we just talked a lot about the murals and so that you can kind of get an overview of them. And then we brought them together and created, let's see. We took, I'm just kind of counting the murals that we included. There were about 20, I'm going to say about 25 to 30 of the murals that we included in our mural quest. And the way that we formatted the poems, it was basically poems. The first 4 lines, each mural had 3 sections for their poem that were 4 lines each. And the first section, everyone, was about what the kids saw within the mural. The second one was, the second 4 lines were written about each mural, like perhaps the background of when it was painted, different dates, just more information about the mural. And then the third set of 4 lines was kind of a transition to get from one mural to the next. So we have this really neat thing that we did with the kids. Some of the murals don't exist anymore, so there does need to be some, if you're interested in working with us, and or if you're interested in that's what you would do at all, if you'd like to take a look at it, we'd love to offer that, and it would just need some, we need to edit it and make some changes with it, but we have a huge set to it. So we just wanted to offer that up to your committee here and let you know that we are super interested in getting this, the work that we've done with our kids in the past, out into the community. So.
Thank you. Sounds interesting. This is Sue Ward, the acting chair tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen.
Yep, you're welcome. Please let me know if you have questions in the future.
Okay,
Keep in touch.
thank you. Madam Chair, that's the end of your comments.
Great, thank you. Next on the agenda is the approval of the agenda and consent agenda. Can I have a motion? Hello, can I have a motion?
Chair, you have a motion from Lebrecht. I move to approve the agenda as stated.
And consent agenda?
Correct.
I second that. Any discussion?
This is Commissioner Furlong, I second the motion.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. Any other discussion? Madam Clerk, can you take the roll for the vote?
So the vote will be for approval of agenda and consent agenda, and on the consent agenda are to approve the October 8th, 2020 regular meeting minutes. Lebrecht,
Yes.
Furlong,
Yes,
Benoit,
Yes.
Ward.
Yes.
We have a unanimous pass on the agenda.
Okay, next on the agenda are special orders, presentations, and reports. First of all, proclamation and awards. Are there any? Looks like none on the agenda.
There are none.
City administration report?
this is Valerie, can you hear me?
Yes, Valerie.
Okay. So let's see, what do I have here? I received our log for the CLG grant for making all the commissioners who participated in grant work in both October and November, and just wanted to say thank you for that. Thank you for putting in, I'll be asking for those at the end of each month. All the way through June. If you need more forms or if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me for those. I don't mind printing out more. And please count all of your hours. So if you do any work at all for the grant, those hours should be counted. And I'm also going to ask if you could please include me in any emails to the Karen or to the clerk's office or any other city departments, just to help keep me informed. That Karen will have to forward, and I think in the past couple days she's forwarded a lot of emails to me to try and keep me in the loop, and that
Thanks, Valerie. I really like the form you've got, so I will be using your form for sure.
Oh, awesome. That's good.
Next on the agenda is a certified local government grant. Tongi or Marianne, this is just a report.
This is funny, I believe that we're spending some time on some additional items in new business to talk about the CLG, but I will report that I think that we've made significant progress. I'm going to leave the actual reporting of that to Mary Ann a little later on, but we've been working mostly in tandem with Mary Ann, myself, and Sherry, so as to remain our groups of three. We are starting to make progress, but really she'll talk more about how it's about identifying and some planning and so on. In later stages over the course of the next month, we do plan to do some outreach via either radio and or the newspaper to make sure that the public is informed, and we don't leave anybody out to know what we're doing, what we're working on, and then we'll need to start working some bench strength in not only advertising and marketing, but also in the volunteer recruitment. So that's kind of where we're sitting now, but right now we're in the identification phase, and I'm going to defer into later on when Mary Ann and Sherry can report on how we'll be doing that. So Mary Ann will be doing a report.
Thanks, Tongi.
Oh my gosh, things are going well. We're making progress. And thank you, everybody, for submitting their hours. Ms. Valerie, I'm sorry to get back to you. I will verify whether there were any extra hours by Commissioner Wolfgang and or Commissioner Wolkers last month. I still owe you that. But thank you.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is Historic Overlay District. We did have a joint meeting with Planning and Zoning. I believe that is of more interest to them at this point. They requested the new and improved standards and guidelines. As that's probably my primary project, I will be getting back to you and starting to move that along now that I'm back on the commission. Any comments or questions? No. Moving on to the Historic Preservation Facebook page. Mary Ann?
Okay, let's see, so the Facebook page, you can see all the stats, et cetera, and the paperwork in your packet.
Page 3 of the packet.
Just wanted to let you know, I'll be finishing up a series soon on all the properties in Seward that are on the National Register of Historic Places. I have been doing that, and I was surprised at how many we actually have, and it's interesting to learn more about what it means to have your property listed, and how it's mainly an honor with little regulations on what you can do as people mistakenly think. So hopefully these posts will inspire people with historic houses to consider being listed when restoring their properties. This month we have several posts that are going out that are letting people know about the CLG grant to create signs for the historic walking tour. And if your house is over 50 years old, it's considered historic. We've been reviewing historic properties in Seward to consider it for the walking tour, and you may be contacted to see if you're interested in participating. You can see examples of what the signs will look like on Facebook. There's pictures of a sign out in front of the cable house, which is very similar to what we're going to be doing. So if you're interested in participating, or you have any information you think might be important to creating the tour, please reach out to the commission, and we would really love to hear from you. I also have two ideas, for two new series that I would like to start in January. One is on amazing women in Seward's history. So if anyone has any interesting photos or stories they'd like to share, please reach out to me. The second series I'd like to start is on cool stuff that you find when renovating your historic house. So I was inspired when Commissioner Ward and I were at the Cobble Company, and the owner showed us a 1935 Alaska map we found in a wall panel, and also an antique men's racer that they recently found in the basement. So I think anyone with an old house has probably found at least one treasure. It would be fun to really learn what people have found in your old houses when they have moved storage. So if anyone listening wants to share a photo and a story for Facebook, please reach out to me. I would love to hear from you. And that is all I have on that. Unless there's any ideas or events or anything that my fellow commissioners would like to bring up that they would like me to make sure it gets posted.
Anybody else?
Commissioner LeBret?
Yep. Go on,
I
Tongi.
just want to thank you for that online presence. Really nice.
I would like to echo that, Marianne. You've really done a good job.
Thanks so much. Been fun.
Sherry, any comments? Hearing none, moving on.
No comment, no comment, no comment.
Thank you, Sherry. Other reports and announcements? None. Presentations? None. Moving on to unfinished business. This is where we discussed, apparently, and like I said, I'm sorry I've been out of the loop, the walkable crosswalk murals in the historic districts. This was unfinished from the October meeting. So I'm going to ask one of you other commissioners, Tongi, Sherry, or Marianne, to speak to this because I'm not up to snuff on it.
This is Commissioner Benoit. I actually have a little report that I submitted on, so I'm happy to fill you in on it.
Super.
Okay, so first I just wanted to say thank you so much to Mary Lynn Barnwell and Jen for calling in. I was like so excited to hear, that you guys were excited about this topic. So thank you so much for letting us know what you guys have been doing, and hopefully there's some great opportunities for us to work together. So there's some information in your packet that I put together about my conversation with Judith Bittner about the walkable mural discussion that we had at one of our previous meetings. And so I was really happy to hear from Judith that and she's our state historic preservation officer, that walkable murals are okay to do in the historic district as long as they have a historic message that's appropriate to the area. And, I mentioned our CLG grant to her about the walking tour. It was really fascinating to brainstorm some ideas with her about how we could use those walkable murals to lead people through the tour and add clues to the murals, which in essence would kind of create like a treasure hunt with potential prizes for people that participate, find clues, and solve whatever the riddle is that we put within the murals. So doing something like this, I think, would be a really fun way to collaborate with local businesses and as well as the schools, obviously, and attract tourists, provide a fun activity for locals, help boost our economy, and enhance appreciation of our history. So I hope that this commission will consider this idea and the possibility of asking for maybe a future grant, whether future CLG grants, or other grants to create some murals in the historic district, or to partner with others that may want to do this. So that's all I have on that.
Just wanted to point out it's on page 6 of your packet. There's a lot of good information. Commissioner LeBret, do you have anything to add? Sherry, Commissioner Furlong, do you have anything to add?
No comment.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is to discuss or to set the meeting and work schedule for 2020 2021. And I believe there's a calendar on page 11. So if you'd refer to your packet.
And Vice Chair Ward, if I may,
Yes.
I created this calendar for you based off of, it looked like you guys had set for 2020, the first Thursday of the first full week. So you'll notice that on November it's in red because it happens to be Veterans Day. So, which would be a city holiday. So that might be something the commission should consider changing the date for that particular meeting.
Commissioner Furlong, do you have any comments?
Sorry, I'm having trouble with my mute button. I like this plan. This plan is fine with me. I was thinking of going with the second Thursday regardless. I like the 6 p.m. time because so far these meetings have been long, like 3 hours, and some folks sometimes need to rise early in the morning, so they need a little bit of time to prepare for the next day. On this November, if everybody's agreeing to keep it here on Thursday, I guess I would just suggest making it on the 4th of November, the first Thursday.
Commissioner LeBret, any comments?
No comment at all. I don't think I have any conflicts on this, that Thursday. It's good for me.
Commissioner Benoit?
Yeah, I think that looks fine. The whole calendar, I'm okay with November 4th, and I'm also fine with, as Sherry recommended, like just having our meeting start at 6, if that's what we want to do, that's fine with me.
As chair, I'd like to make a comment. I believe that Sherry is correct, that it was always the second Thursday of the month. And the reason I know that is the Pioneers meet on the first Thursday and Resurrection Bay Historic Society meets on the third Thursday. So I was looking at January, if we could move that to the 14th, it's the second Thursday of the month. Does that make sense? And there was one other, August. Rather than the 5th, make it the 12th, the second Thursday of the month.
Looks like May is also
May, yeah.
on the first Thursday.
So Pioneers, and I know because I've been on those, I'm in those groups. So they were the first Thursday, we were always the second Thursday of the month. And I have no problem with the 6 o'clock time. Earlier is better, as far as I'm concerned. So, do we need a motion?
October, does that need to also be changed?
Yes. Yes.
And this January.
So changing January,
So it'd be January would be the 14th. May would be the 13th. August would be the 12th. October would be the 14th. The only month that would be different would be we'd meet the first on November, in November, and December would stay the 9th.
and I do believe we need a motion, so the calendar is set.
Right. I move that the Historic Preservation Commission meet on the second Thursday of every month at 6 p.m. Can I have a second?
Second motion, this is LeBret.
Yes?
LeBrecq seconded it.
Okay, and so could you do the roll call?
Okay, roll call for the motion to have the meeting set for 2021 for the second Thursday of the month at 6 p.m. Benoit?
Yes.
LeBrecq,
Yes.
Furlong,
Yes.
and Ward.
Yes,
You have a unanimous
motion passed.
motion passed.
The next item on the agenda is to review, discuss, and approve the plan the annual report to council.
This is Valerie, can anyone hear me?
Oh, Valerie, go ahead. You might have to speak up a little bit.
Yeah, it's hard to hear you.
I'm speaking right into the phone. Sorry, I couldn't interrupt the discussion, but so I have been asked to attend the meetings in May and November. So that would be May 13th and then November 11th. Since that wasn't changed, then we're closed on the 11th. So that's a holiday for us.
I think we moved that to the first, that was the only month because of that conflict. So the 4th would,
Oh, okay, I don't think that's included in the motion.
I don't believe I did either.
Okay.
Can we amend the motion? So I amend the motion, and the second has to approve it. So I amend the motion that it's the second Thursday of every month except November, which will be the 1st. Does the second agree?
Agreed.
Okay, so a vote on the amendment that to make an exception for November will be on the 4th, not the 11th?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Furlong,
Yeah.
Benoit,
Yes.
LeBrecq,
Yes.
and Chair Ward.
Yes. Thank you.
Unanimous, your amendment passes. I think technically because we amended it, we need to again vote on
The overall
the full
motion.
schedule. Yes.
So if you could read the motion in its entirety, and we'll take one last vote.
So the final motion is meetings for historic preservation for 2021 will be on the second Thursday of the month at 6 p.m. except for November will be November 4th at 6 p.m. Furlong,
Yeah.
LeBrecq,
Yes, please.
Benoit,
Yes.
and Chair Ward.
Yes. Thank you,
Motion
Valerie, for
passes.
catching that.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Next on the agenda is to review, discuss, approve, and plan the annual report to council. I have no information on this. That may be something that falls under Chair Cease. I think we'll table that and put it under, yes, Commissioner LeBrecq?
I was just going to say that I've had experience with writing that report in the past, and you, of course, put together a spreadsheet earlier in the year to allow us to keep track of our work. I think that's just simply putting together a summary of what we've done. We just need somebody to agree to take that on. I'm certainly happy to assist, and then it's just a one-pager, so you know. So we may table as you wish, Chair.
Do we have anybody to step up and volunteer? When is it due? Does anybody know when it's due to City Council?
It's probably going to be in the early 2021.
Okay, well, I think what I'd like to do is table it, and I will volunteer to talk to Chair Cease to see where we are in that process. Commissioner Brett, your volunteering has been noted, and I will talk to the chair and see where we are with that. Does that seem reasonable? Okay.
That seems reasonable.
Next on the agenda is review, revise, set deadline, and approve notice to solicit HP nominations.
Madam Vice Chair,
Yes?
I believe you skipped over discuss and revise annual priority list for approval.
Okay, I'm sorry, I did skip over something. Let's back up to number 3 on the agenda. Discuss, revise annual priority list for approval in 2021. I believe that's, I thought that was on page 11. Nope. Okay, you will find in your packet on page 12 and 13 is the priorities and schedule. Does somebody have the-
So much noise going on in the background.
Yeah, I don't-
I'm not sure.
Folks on the phone need to mute their phone so we don't get that noise. Okay, so 12 and 13 are the discuss and revise annual priority list, and you'll find in your packet 12 and 13 is a sample list. I would also put this in the same category as the annual report to council. I will meet with Chair Cease and we will get together something to present to the board or to the commission in January. Does that seem reasonable? Mary Ann, any thoughts?
I think it sounds like a great idea.
Commissioner LeBrecq, how about you?
Mr. LeBrecq is in agreement.
Okay, Sherry, Commissioner Furlong?
That's fine with me.
Yeah, 3 and 4, then I will go ahead and get with Commissioner Cease, and we will do a draft for your approval by January. Moving to 5 on the agenda, review, revise, set deadline, and approve notice to solicit HP award nominations. Again, I have no information on where we are in this process.
This is Valerie, can you hear me?
Come on, Valerie, go ahead.
Okay, all right, thank you. So basically all you need to do is to update the date and kind of the timely type information and maybe because not a whole lot changes from year to year. But we want to get this upgraded so it can get put out so the public can be notified right away. So we want to change it to 2021 Historic Preservation Award on the notice. And nominations must be submitted by date, where the forms are located, that type of information. And then also the form just needs to be updated to 2021 Stewart Historic Preservation Award. So this is pretty basic because the work needs to be done in advance so that we can get it noticed and the public has an opportunity to submit their application in advance.
Thank you, Valerie. I'll add that to the list that I'm going to discuss with Cheryl Cease so that we have something in writing to present to the commission at our next meeting. I think you're right, we need to do a little advanced work.
Yeah, I would recommend giving Karen, the clerk's office, the authority to make those changes so that we can get this part of the paperwork done. The tricky thing is when they need to be submitted by. So if we typically try to have the awards announced in May, which is Historic Preservation Month. So in order for them to be announced in May, you need to get your applications in probably by February or March at the very latest. So we could do like a due date of March 2021. And that would be in time for the commission to review those applications at the April meeting and to prepare to present the award in May.
Thanks, nice timeline, Valerie. Karen, could you maybe pull the old stuff
I believe there are copies of that in the current packet.
in the packet?
For you guys to look at now.
Okay, what page is that, do you know? Anita?
21.
Should be 20 and 21.
Ah,
Is this something I should like post an announcement, say, in January on Facebook, soliciting nominations for this?
I think that's a great idea.
Is that Benoit?
Yes. In looking at this form, and based on what Valerie said, these forms were due June 15th, but we need to back it up to March or April, at least March, sounds like.
Madam Vice Chair, I would definitely recommend no later than March 15th.
Okay,
In fact, you might want to even do it earlier in March so that they can be included in the March meeting as a discussion, so that the applications themselves would be able to be added to the agenda in March for discussion, because that all needs to take place in the public.
so if we did it March 1st, that would be in time for the meeting. Is that your thinking, Valerie?
Yeah, Karen, just eyeballing it really quickly, is that going to give you enough time to get them into the packet, the applications in the packet? If it was Monday, March 1st, or a March 11th meeting?
Valerie, at this point, I really don't have an idea on estimating times. This being my first packet I put together.
You did a really good job.
As long as I'm given a deadline for when they need to be submitted by, we'll get it in there.
Yeah, I agree. I would make it March 1st to be sure to give the clerk's office enough time to have that turnaround for to add it to the start for the big commission packet.
And then the award would be made, I wrote down, what did you say about April? April review them, but we can do that in the March meeting. Is that what your thinking is?
Madam Vice Chair, we would, if we could, they would be added to the packet for the March meeting for review, and then that would give the Historic Preservation Commission that meeting to discuss, as well as another meeting in April if we need further discussion in order to be able to make those decisions for, to finalize at the May 6th meeting, or actually, the May 13th meeting, in order to get those on the, well, actually, that might not work, because we want to get them to council in May. We want to get the proclamations to council in May. So, we definitely need to have it on the March meeting.
Okay. Okay, so the nomination form, March 1st, to be on the agenda at the March meeting, and that gives us April and May to review and to get a proclamation to council. Does that seem reasonable?
Yes, Madam Chair, it would give us, I would recommend March 8th to make that decision.
Okay?
Because you would need to have that decision done in the public and then prepare to give to the clerk's office for the council meeting.
Right.
So that would give them time to update the proclamations, to make the creation of proclamations, and to get it onto the city council's agenda.
So the only change that I see that needs to be made on the nomination form is that date at the top. We could get it out in January, so there's 2 months to advertise, get it out for nominations to be in by March 1st, and then we review them at the 8th, on March 8th meeting. Any comments from other commissioners?
This is Commissioner Furlong. I do have a question. I don't understand why these nominations this summer passed. Were due in June, and why do we want them in May this year? I don't get it.
I think, to answer your question, Commissioner Furlong, I believe we wanted the awards to be in the Historic Preservation month of May. And last year we missed. And this year we're going to try and make that part of the Historic Month celebration. Does that make sense to you?
Thank you.
Keep us on our toes. Any other comments? Commissioner LeBret? If not, Commissioner Benoit, I think it's a good idea to put it on Facebook. Get it out there in the public.
Yeah, that sounds good. I will do that, and otherwise I have no comment.
So the only change that I can see on page 21 is just the date. It'll be due to the city clerk by March 1st. And to be discussed, it'll be on the agenda of the March 8th meeting.
It's actually the 11th.
I'm sorry, the 11th. All right?
This is Commissioner Furlong. I would like to move to adjust the date on the Seward Historic Preservation Award to March 1st, 2021.
Can I have a second?
This is Commissioner Benoit, second that.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, the motion to be called is to adjust the date on the Historic Preservation Award nomination form to March 1st, 2021. Benoit?
Yes.
LeBrecq?
Yes.
Furlong?
Yes.
And Chair Ward.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Moving on to the next agenda item, discuss ideas for the old video store next to Hotel Seward as it relates to Seward's historic character. I have Cease listed as the lead on this. Since she's not here, can I have someone step in? Marianne, could I have you speak to this since
I can tell you some of my thoughts on it.
yes, that's why I picked on you.
Basically, I have several thoughts. One, I've gone over there and looked at it a couple of times, and I was just today looking up the dates on the buildings surrounding that area. So the Hotel Seward was built partially in 1944 and part of it 1986. The cookery next door on the other side was built in 1994. The church, one building down to the south, was built in 53. So basically what I'm saying is, when you look at all the buildings, then there's a house across the street, I think it's 1930. So there is no consistent time period of all those buildings together that gives like a real clear picture of, what you would recommend as far as architectural details for a certain period. But there is, a few clues you could pull for consistency. For example, the cookery and the Hotel Seward both have some decorative details on them that are the same. So I think that the building, you could take some of those similarities between those two buildings and try to use some of the colors from that and some of the decorative details to have some kind of consistency in that block. I also think that we have the draft standards and guidelines that you and I have been working on, which is an addendum to the 2017 Historic Preservation Plan. So there's standards and guides give, guidance to people that want to build a new building in a historic district or do renovation on a historic building, and gives you ideas like, what your windows could look like and what your details could look like and how you could be consistent with the rest of the neighborhood and a variety of things like that. So I think that document could be helpful to the owner in some of those kind of details. So that's, I guess, what I would suggest, not having any more information really about what they want to do, but just my opinion of what would potentially work the best in that area.
This is Vice Chair Ward. Did the people who own the building or the property, have they contacted us? Is this something that they're interested in terms of assistance? Anybody know?
Chair Benoit, I have no idea. I think they may have contacted Chair Seat, but I'm not quite sure.
Okay. The reason I asked is, do we need to contact them, or if they've contacted us? I mean, I'd be real happy to sit down with them and show them the guidelines. I don't know what they're planning for that property, but I'd be really happy to sit down with them and start educate them on, what a historic property looks like and how you deal with it. But I wasn't sure where we were with this, again, because I've come in so late.
Commissioner Benoit, one thing I did notice in looking at that property is there's a sign, public notice there right now. It looks like they're potentially considering building an apartment building, I think. So that's all I know about the potential plans.
I will go ahead and sit down with Chair C, since her name was against this agenda item, and find out a little bit more information. I'm not sure if we can make a decision as we don't have the information. So I will commit to talking to to Chair C about where we want to go with this particular agenda item. Any other comments? LeBret?
LeBret has no comment. Thank you.
Sherry Furlong, Commissioner Furlong?
Yes, I just want to direct the commissioner's attention to that photo that I added as a laydown of the original Hotel Seward as a possible help to guidance.
Great idea,
Commissioner Furlong,
Sherry.
I do have that to share on the screen. If I can.
Thank you. I'm not hooked up, so I don't know if anyone else is that video option.
Sherry, Commissioner Furlong, I think that's a really good idea. This is kind of what was there. This is what's in the area. So I'm going to put that in my stack, and I'll talk to Chair Cease, and we'll see how we can progress this agenda item. I'm happy to do that with Chair Cease. I'm going to probably sit down and review a lot of things with her. Any other comments? Hearing none, we'll move on. Discuss the November 3rd, 2020 joint work session with Planning and Zoning. Again, Chair Cease' name was against this, but you'll find in your packet on page 22 and 23 work session notes regarding that meeting. I attended that meeting in person and felt like it was a really worthwhile project. The planning and zoning were very interested in the guidelines district, the historic district design standards and guidelines, and requested an updated copy. Anybody else who attended? I know Commissioner LeBrecq, you were there. What was your takeaway?
My takeaway was that we made great progress. I think that there were some points where they didn't have great knowledge of our mission or what it is that we're trying to achieve, and I think that we made a lot of progress in education and just partnership. So good.
Commissioner Benoit, you attended via phone.
Yeah, I think that there's all kinds of great opportunities for us to work together and make some real progress. And I think to do that, we need to understand what the other group commission is and some of the plans. Like, we need to get a better understanding of their comprehensive plan that kind of guides the zoning and different things that affect buildings and sewers, and, you know, for them maybe understanding more about our mission and our 2017 plan and possibly our standards and guidelines that we're working on so that we can see where the connections are, how we can work together, where the holes are, where we can work together to fill them in, and just make where the opportunities are. So I feel that there's lots of chances to do that.
Commissioner Furlong, I believe you were on the phone then during that meeting. What was your takeaway?
I was.
What was your takeaway?
It felt like the planning commission didn't really understand why we were together. That was my general take on it. And so I tried to, I think the only thing I brought into it was Jackie Wild, it all came about from her encouraging us to try to make a difference in code because we have very little authority unless we can make any needed changes that we see to code. And so I felt like that was the foundation for our joint session. Yeah, otherwise I don't have any comments.
Good observations. I believe it's a start. I think you are correct, Commissioner Furlong, is that we need to look at code. We need to look at, as you said, Commissioner Benoit, where we have holes and where we have agreement. That's a starting point. I'm not sure that this has ever been done before, and I think the recognition of our historic buildings is becoming stronger, and so we need to protect them. And I thought this was a good start. But you can review...
Chair, this is Valerie. If I could make a comment, please.
Yes, go ahead.
On page 26, the next 4 pages, 26, 27, 28, and 29, include excerpts from the comprehensive, the 2030 comprehensive plan. And one of the questions that came up at the meeting, I didn't call in, but I was listening to the meeting while I was working. And one of the questions that came up was whether or not, any work with historic properties, any historic preservation work with properties was included into the comprehensive plan. So I really wanted to be sure that that was shared. So I made these copies and I gave them to all of the people present at the time of the meeting, but it wasn't until the end of the meeting. So I just wanted to explain what it has my name on it as a lay down for that meeting. But people actually didn't get it until after the meeting was over. So, but I think it's really important to use this information to back up the work of the Historic Preservation Commission.
Well done, Valerie. I think the 2017 plan and the comprehensive plan are the basis and the justification for what we're trying to do. So thank you for including that. I think that was excellent. Any other comments? Hearing none, we'll move on to the next session, or the next agenda item. Discuss the progress, challenge, and plan for the CLG grant Seward Public Educational Signage, i.e. walking tour. Mary Ann, your name's against this agenda item?
Okay, so basically for those listening in, our commission applied for and the city received a grant for a project that officially is called the Seward Public Education Signage, but most of the time you're going to hear us refer to it as the CLG Historic Walking Tour, so just so you know, it's the same thing. We got money to create and install, I think it was up to 25 signs, and based on the timing and the sizes of the signs that we end up selecting, I think we figured we'll probably get 15 to 20 signs. And we also plan to create a paper walking tour map. So after this was approved, we started working on this in October and November. And all the details of the things we've been doing are in the packets. But just wanted to point out a few things. In summary, our committee created like a preliminary priority list of properties that we think have exciting histories to share. And we created this list considering a variety of things. We reviewed our historic inventory list and picked properties that we thought were most suitable for the tour. We visually went out and checked all the properties to make sure that they're, still exist and they haven't been so modified to lose their visual historic character. We verified the dates that the houses were built by looking at the Kinetic of the parcel viewer, and we realized that sometimes these dates are not accurate. We considered the information on the construction dates from discussions from owners, because, we know some people in town, and if we could get more accurate information from the owners, we did. We also considered properties that we thought would be easy and safe to walk to along public sidewalks, trails, or streets. So our highest priorities were sites that are on the national list for historic places, as well as sites listed on Seward's historic property list. And then some of the oldest homes in Seward, particularly those that have been restored or retain their historic character. We also considered examples related to our military history that may not be quite as old, such as some of the Quonset huts, for example. We tried to find examples that show the history of different decades in Seward from 1905 to 1950, such as buildings built after the fire that affected 4th Avenue in the 40s, and buildings that were constructed to support the military in World War II. So from that, we developed outreach letters to the public, which will be sent out soon, and we're going to be discussing that letter later in this meeting. We have initiated inviting several partners to join us to collaborate on research and materials for the signs, and we also hope to reach out to the public in the newspaper, radio, Facebook, etc., and to find people that want to be part of the tour or participate as partners or volunteers. We have reached out personally to some of the commissioners, to property owners on the list, people that we know personally, just to see if they're interested, and all of them have excitedly said yes, including the Cobble Company, which is Brown and Hopkins, the Train Depot, the Sweat and Towel, St. Peter's Church, and Rectory. All of these are National Register properties, as well as Resurrect Our Coffee House and the Tides Inn. So the bottom line of all this is that our list is longer than we have money for signs. And we want to be inclusive of anyone that has an interest in a suitable property and that wants to participate, as well as any partner that wants to share history, photos, and knowledge. And since we don't really know how many people will say yes or no to the sign, we may generate more interest in signs than there's money available. If that's the case, we will take it as just exciting evidence that our town really cares about our history and wants to share our story, and that we can apply for an additional CLG grant in the future to get more signs. Also, some property owners may wish to be like on the walking tour map and not necessarily have a sign, and that's okay too. So please be on the lookout for an invitation to participate in the coming weeks, or please feel free to reach out to us and let us know if you're interested in having your property on the tour or in helping us volunteer. So we would really appreciate that. And that's all I have on that.
I just wanted to point out, this is Chair Ward, Vice Chair Ward. There's a nice report on page 30 and 31 of your packet. If you haven't seen it yet, I'm assuming you put that together, Commissioner Benoit, but it does kind of lay out very nicely accomplishments to date. Commissioner LeBrecq, you have any comments?
My only comment is there's a tremendous amount of work and forward progress, and I'm grateful to my fellow commissioners and for Commissioner Benoit for putting this wonderful report together. I really think we're making progress and we're on track.
Commissioner Furlong, any comment?
Commissioner Furlong and both of you.
I do have a question. This is Commissioner Furlong. I want to get some sort of ballpark figure as to where we are with our volunteer hours. Maybe a reminder of how many we need, or can I get some feel for where we are there?
Commissioner Furlong, if you look at page 31 of your packet, there is a real nice summary, and so far it looks like 84 hours, almost 85 hours, and over $2,000 in a monetary figure. So it's on page 31 of the packet.
Perhaps I could direct my question to Valerie. Can you give me an idea of how many total hours we need?
Yes, Commissioner Furlong, the grant agreement requires 300, the minimum of 300 volunteer hours.
Is that in total or per month?
No, that is total, so cumulatively.
Well, we're well above that. Any other questions, Commissioner Furlong?
No comment.
Okay. Any other discussion? Commissioner LeBrecq? Commissioner Benoit?
None from LeBrecq.
Jennifer Benoit.
Okay, if hearing no further discussion, we'll move on.
Clerk, I'm sorry, Madam Vice Chair.
Who is this?
I think it's Valerie.
This is Valerie.
Oh, okay, Valerie.
Hi. Sorry, I said Madam Clerk. I'd like to just make a couple of comments. Sorry, I think I was cutting out. I think somebody needs to mute. I can't hear. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, I hear you, Valerie.
Oh, okay. My apologies. I think I'm unable to hear, so I'll continue. First of all, I wanted to tell Mary Ann thank you, because she's put in a lot of hours into doing this, and fortunately I was able to, her and I were able to have a phone conversation to kind of catch up on some of the work that's being done. And I did want to make a couple of points that yes, it does require 300 volunteer hours before the end of June of 2021. I also want to point out that there is no extension available. This grant is with federal monies, and it's already been extended. So the end of June is as far, unless there's some other changes that the federal government makes, like a pandemic concession or something like that, there's no option to extend it. The other thing that I wanted to mention is I was also concerned that any one commissioner may be tasked with doing a lot of the work. So I was going to respectfully ask that we take an opportunity to delegate some of the work. And I just wanted to kind of share a little bit of a timeline from my by the end of June. So this meeting, we're going to be looking at the letter that will go out to the public, inviting the public, people, private property owners to participate. And once this is approved, that will really help to advance the project. But it will have to continue on to the selection of those properties, as well as designing the sign, and then moving on to the permit. And I did find out a little bit of information about the sign permits that will be required. The commission will need to submit sign permits to the city for review. And these will be reviewed it'll be submitted to the community development, and it will give Parks and Rec an opportunity to review the request, as well as Public Works, and any other department that might be impacted by that. And I didn't get a copy of the form yet. I'll get that soon. But I did find out that we can include all of the properties onto one request, so we don't have to submit like 25 separate permits. And then it will take about 2 weeks for that to be approved. So I wanted to give you a timeline for that as well. And then that will have to be followed with the creation of the actual materials, for the signage. And I'm not even talking about the walking tour portion of it. I'm just talking about the signage part of it. And then also the installation. So I wanted to just run through a little bit of the project from the signage aspect of it, and what that might look like, and what we need to kind of keep in mind so that we meet our deadline.
This is Commissioner LeBrecq. When I can speak.
Go ahead, Commissioner
Oh,
LeBrecq.
I'm done. Thank you.
This is Commissioner LeBrecq. Thank you, Ms. Kingsland, for crossing our T's and dotting our I's on that. I have no concerns about the timeline, but I appreciate staying on track with that. I want to point out that our big hairy goal, if you will, is to get 25 signs done. However, we have a budget, and it ends up being something short of that. We will still accomplish our goal of getting this going on. The second thing is, my question is about well, first of all, let me make a statement. We've already had a meeting with the signage project people individually already. We have a clear path for getting those signs done, and we're going to start doing them in batches of up to 5. We're not waiting to do 25 signs at one time. So we'll be doing batches of those. We've already had a meeting with the signage designer. The signage designer will take our 250-word pictures that we submit and then turn those into actual signage. We will also contract with the actual folks that are making the sign, and we'll get all that produced and shipped to us in a timely manner. The second thing on the putting the signs, and I appreciate the fact that it's only got to go into one form. I do have the question, if these signs are going on private property, why even requires any approval by the city if it's going on in a yard on a private property, and something that's already been approved by City Council quite a few months ago. That's my question on that.
Commissioner LeBrecq, I will pass your question on to City Administration.
I appreciate that. Please know that we're working in full partnership, and if in fact it does require us to do that, we absolutely do that. I assume in some cases where there's some buildings that may be city property, we would not be on private land, therefore we would have to comply. And I am fully intending and will direct anyone working on it as well that we fully comply and make this as easy as possible. This is a partnership. But thank you for the timeline. I'll get with you on that and put something more specific together so we can get back on track to make sure that we stay on track with our current plan. But we did, I didn't know if that was mentioned, we did have a meeting with the signage people, and we are prepared to start submitting signs in smaller batches and get those out.
This is Commissioner Benoit. I have a comment too, if I may.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say regarding kind of like the workload, we already have in our committee basically determined commissioners that are responsible for each property that we've identified, as potentially on our list. People are already assigned to specifically talk to those people, to gather the histories, to gather the materials, to write up the histories for the sign. We have a process already in place for once they have that information. What we're going to do is basically send these narratives to me to edit so that we have one voice in the signage that we're sending to the sign designer. And that's based on what they recommended to us to do. So I feel like we already have the process for the workflow all lined out already and assigned to people. So I don't think you have to worry about that part of it. I feel like we're in good shape, and as a matter of fact, we already have a narrative developed for one of the signs already and some of the pictures. So I feel like we're making good progress. We've got cast of signs. I'm sure there's things we probably overlooked, but most of the work is already kind of lined out.
This is Commissioner LeBrecq. I want to thank Ms. Kingsland. However, I believe that the intent is to make sure that we're not overworking any of our commissioners. And I do recognize that Commissioner Benoit has put in quite a few hours towards this project. I know that that's the intent. We will keep that in mind moving forward and make sure that we evenly distribute the load among the commissioners. And hopefully we'll have a new commissioner at some point. I know we're short right now, so we can get help with that. So thank you. I know the intent is good.
Yeah, thank you.
And I'd like to echo that, and she's just keeping us on track and just making sure that we're doing it. I think it's really nice that we can report back that we are. Any other comments? Okay, moving on to number 9 under other new business. Review, edit, and approve the letter to private property owners about participating in the CLG grant, including the list of property owners. Commissioner Benoit, do you want to address that?
Well, let's see.
It's approving the letter to property owners.
The letter, we basically, our committee discussed what we thought were important messages to keep in mind to the public, regardless if it was in a letter or if we were talking to people, so that our messaging was consistent. After that, thank you to Sherry Furlong, Commissioner Furlong, for developing the first draft of our letter. And then from there, I edited that letter and sent it to Tanvi to review. Then it went to Cheryl to review, and also to Valerie. So this letter that you see here in the packet is kind of like the end result of lots of people putting time into trying to make this as clear and easy as possible for the public to understand what we're doing and hopefully get excited and want to participate. So our goal is to approve this letter and then get it out the door as soon as possible, because we do have a deadline. Actually, I think that there is a mistake in this, because I believe it's supposed to say January 20th, not December 20th. Well, we want people to let us know if they want to participate. I'm not quite sure what happened there. I didn't notice that until just now, but I can, if you can take a look at it, and this note is supposed to say January 20th, 2021. And that's what we hope to do, is approve this so we can get the sent out as soon as possible. And then I guess the question would be also, is how does the letter get sent out? Like, who does that? What's the process? Thank you.
So it sounds like there's 2 things in there. We need a motion to approve this letter with the change you just said and discuss a process. So can I have a motion to approve the letter? Go on, Commissioner Furlong.
So
everyone a chance to discuss this, and I hate to bring this up, but I just realized that, really this is an invitation, should be an invitation to include, everyone that would like to be on the walking tour that is, you know, of any historic interest. So I know when I created this letter, I was thinking of signs, but, let's see. In that second paragraph there, if so we would love, it is soliciting people's interest. In that second sentence in the second paragraph, if so, we would love to interview you to discuss its history and the possibility of developing a sign. I wish I had just said, and the possibility of including you in a walking tour. And these signs, there's specifics below of the sizes, and that's fine to include that. But I almost would like to suggest that we approve this letter with those two changes, perhaps. The date and just including the possibility of interviewing folks for interest in the, I don't know how to say this. If so, we would love to interview you to discuss its history and the possibility of including your property in the walking tour, I guess. It's just a minimum change in a few words there.
Any other discussion? Any other discussion on that change? Hearing none, I suggest that we leave the letter as has been approved by the process. With the change on January 20th, 2021, will be the only change. Can I have a motion?
Okay, I'm sorry, can you repeat that? There was a lot of background noise.
Yeah, I was having trouble hearing. Sherry suggested that in paragraph 2, I think it was including, rather than developing a sign, but including you in the walking tour. That was a change she requested. I didn't get any feedback on that.
But this is Commissioner Benoit. If, I think that's fine. If we make that change.
The
as long as people understand that what we're asking them, basically we're asking them several things. One, are you interested in being part of the tour, which is kind of what her wording change is saying. But we're also trying to find out if they're interested in having a sign and giving them information on what those signs look like and the sizes, etc. So as long as you think it's clear, then, that's fine with me.
Okay. Commissioner LeBret?
Quebec is in agreement.
Okay, I will go ahead and make the motion that we approve this letter with the following changes. In paragraph 2, it will say, if so, we would love to interview you to discuss its history and the possibility of being included in the walking tour. Second change would be, let us know by January 20th, 2021. Those would be the two changes in that letter. Can I have a second?
This is Commissioner Benoit. I will add that.
I'm sorry you broke up.
She said she would second.
She would second it? Okay, can we have a vote?
Vote on the motion to approve the letter for the CLG grant with the included changes for the second paragraph. If so, we would love to interview you to discuss its history and the possibility of being included in the walking tour.
Yes.
And the date due date being January 2021. LeBrecq?
LeBrecq said to come off mute, yes.
Yep, understood. Furlong?
Yes.
Benoit?
Yes.
Vice Chair Ward?
Yes,
Motion passes.
thank you.
And this is Commissioner Benoit. I'm happy to make those changes we discussed, and then I could send this to Jen to put her signature on it, and then she can forward it back to the clerk.
Yay, perfect. Thank you, Commissioner Benoit. Under new business, other new business items, number 10, discuss options for the Jesse Lee home. Against this particular agenda item is Chair Cease, but I'm going to defer to you, Sherry, because you have a laydown that you put into the packet.
Okay, well, I'm not sure. I was thinking I would just hang back because I didn't know why this was included on the agenda to begin with, and so it might be wise for me to get enlightened. But since I'm on here, I will just go over what I'm thinking. And it doesn't pertain. I mean, once the building is gone, it's gone, and I guess we do have some say in whatever memorial is there. But I wanted everyone to take a look at, and I don't even know, why these plans were drawn the way they were. And there's 5 different park concepts here, mostly a lot the same. And 2 things that I noted here is there's overhead electric lines on the lower side coming across each corner. And I would like to recommend, if I could, that there be no overhead electric lines on that property, that they all be buried. And then the other thing I wanted to note, well, actually 2 things, and this does have, it is in our department. One of the things that is so appealing about Jesse Lee, and I think why so many people voted for a park, is that, well, of course it has a wonderful view of the bay, but it is rolling and open. And that open ground, I think, is where its appeal is, as far as the park is concerned. And so I would hate to see the whole entire property filled up with different types of things, buildings, man things. I feel like the easiest, I would like to keep that open appeal. And the easiest way for the city to care for that is to mow, just to mow. And the more we have built in there, the harder it is going to be to mow. And then the other thing I wanted to point out is, for some reason, this designer put a dog park right in the middle of the whole entire property. And just doesn't, people and dogs, some people, some older people sometimes maybe would like to enjoy it also, and are they going to have to run a gauntlet of dogs to enjoy it? So I want to suggest that there's a little space over, I would say this is it's the southeast corner of the property. There's a little space there, and some of it I think is easement there, which is fine. And you can see that it's up against that parking lot for one of the low-income housing apartments there that is off Sweatman there. And I would suggest that instead of having this dog park right in the middle, that they maybe move the drive over towards the middle and put this dog park along that, it would be the south border
there, kind of adjacent to where that parking lot is, and get it out of the middle of the property. So, and I don't know, how hard and fast whoever just arbitrarily drew this, I don't know. They had to have some kind of drawing for presentation because they did a good thing. Someone suggested at a planning and zoning meeting that they send out a survey monkey, which they did, and they got an awful lot of, I think 169 responses. Well, they likely needed some kind of an idea for people to focus on, so it was probably developed for that purpose. But those are my suggestions.
Commissioner Furlong and Vice Chair, if I may.
Go ahead, Commissioner LeBret.
First of all, very interesting comment and very thoughtful. Thank you. I want to submit that I sat on the city council meeting, and one thing we need, or the planning and zoning meeting, one thing we need to consider, planning and zoning voted for it to be a park, 4-1. It still has to go before city council before it's even designated as parkland. It still could turn to R2. The recommendation of the chair of planning and zoning was the only dissenter, by the way. The recommendation of the planning and zoning chair was that it go to an R2. It was voted against, and it was recommended it be parkland. That has to go by city council and be approved before any of this can be fruition. It could very much be R2, unless in fact people are vocal and continue to be vocal until city council determines.
Any other comments?
Yeah, this is Commissioner Benoit. I guess my comment is, what exactly is our role as the Historic Preservation Commission in this process? As far as, expressing ideas of what should happen here or anything else. I guess I'm not really sure how we fit into this.
Commissioner Beck, I would say that it's more of a private citizen input as we make comments on citizen comments before. I don't know if we can necessarily, as a commission, offer unless we just say that we first of all support it being a park. And then I do agree with some of the comments that Commissioner Furlong made as to how the use of that park might be. But we got to get past that first obstacle because they very much could get overturned and turn into R2 and be residential. What they had proposed was that they take 0.6 acres, the Commissioner Eklund or Chair Eklund proposed that we make 0.6 acres as the park and 2 acres as development. So I would say if we have interest in development, making sure it stays a park and doing some of the things that Commissioner Furlong said, we need to first pull together as a commission and as private citizens as well and make sure that in fact it does not, the recommendation by PC does not get overturned at the council meeting.
Thank you. This is Commissioner Benoit again. I agree. I think that if, like, the first step would be as a commission, if we think that we would like to see this as a park rather than commercially developed. But also, I feel like for us to be able to make a recommendation like that, that it should have something to do with the historic aspect of this. Like, if we're going to say, we really would like it to be a park, with some kind of a nod to the history of the Jesse Lee home in some way as part of this park, rather than just like, we think it should be a park because without that, it doesn't seem like it's part of our scope of what we should be weighing in on, I guess.
I would agree with that, and if we keep it positive on things that we think that should happen as opposed to things we oppose, we probably keep on historic.
This is Vice Chair Ward.
Plans that Sherry provided here, it seems like some of those plans do talk about like a museum and some other things related to the history. Not all of them, but it seemed like some of them did, so I like that part.
This is Vice Chair Ward. I agree. I think we really have to look at our scope and we have a lot of things on our plate. I think at this point, until they decide if they're going to do a parkland, At some point, I think we need to be involved, but it needs to be history-based. The memorial, I don't know that I'm terribly interested in designing a dog park. Or community gardens, but I would be real interested in a memorial to the Jesse Lee home in some fashion. So I think what we've got is some heads up information, and I think I would request that this would continue on the agenda as it progresses through City Council. We may find a niche later on.
Vice Chair Ward, I have a suggestion.
Yes, sir.
We could simply applaud the decision that was made by P&Z, who we've been partnering with, and their recommendation that they made recently that it be designated as parkland. That would not be taking any kind of a serious political stance other than saying we appreciate the stance that was taken. Up for discussion. 4-1 voted in favor of making it parkland, and it now goes to council.
Can I have?
However, I understand that it's a non-historic nature, so we just need to decide if that's something you want to do.
I think probably, I agree with that. I think that's a really good idea because I'm a psychologist, I like to positively reinforce. So I'd love to positively reinforce planning and zoning for taking the stance that they did, that we're supportive of our partner. Whether or not that's our purview, I don't know. Any other thoughts?
Yes, this is Commissioner Furlong. I really like that idea. I was overwhelmingly thankful that planning and zoning voted the way they did. And so I would like for us to resolve tonight to send them a thank you, a formal thank you somehow or another.
Ms. Furlong, make a motion.
Okay, I move that I don't know how we would do this. Could someone just present it personally at their next planning and zoning commission meeting, or how would we do this?
I would say I would make a motion to ask the chair, or I would make a motion to write a letter in support of the decision of planning and zoning.
Okay, this is Commissioner Furlong. I do move that we create a letter to send to the Planning and Zoning Commission, thanking them for their overwhelming choice to suggest to City Council that Jesse Lee property be zoned park.
Can I get a second?
This is Commissioner Benoit. I'll second that, and I think that we should CC that letter to the City Council.
Vice Chair Ward, I love it. I would simply just say that we would note that we appreciate the intent of preserving the area for its historic nature, something to that effect. The wording of that. Thank you.
Is that an amendment to the motion?
It is, so I haven't quite got the words yet.
Okay.
I think that could be something that's just part of writing
Okay.
the
Well,
letter.
I was just going to say you can put it in the motion, then I'll talk to Cheryl about it. I think we have a motion and a second, so if we could have a vote.
Commissioner Furlong, just a point of question. This is Karen.
Yes?
I just want to make sure I understood your motion properly. For Historic Preservation to write a letter to P&Z thanking them for the decision to create a park at the Jesse Lee home area?
I would say we want to thank them for voting to zone Jesse Lee property park. I think that's what parks. It's zoned parks. I don't know if there's a better way to term. I think that's the way they put it.
Okay, all right, and-
I do appreciate Commissioner LeBret's inclusion there, saying that we appreciate their intent of preserving the history of Jesse Lee Hall.
Mary Ann, as the, Commissioner Benoit as the second, are you comfortable with that?
I'm sorry, I couldn't understand, there was so much background noise, could you repeat?
Well, I'll have Karen read the motion. I think it got changed a little bit, and I want to make sure that the second is good with that.
Yeah, and I think the section about the historical property can be included in the letter.
Okay. So read the motion and,
The motion, I believe if I copied you correctly, Commissioner Furlong, historic preservation to write a letter to P&Z, Planning and Zoning, thanking them for their voting on the zoning Jesse Lee property as a park.
Yes, that's fine.
Okay.
Mary Ann, you're okay with the second?
Yes, that sounds good, thank you.
All right. Call for the vote on the motion. Furlong,
Yes,
Benoit,
Yes,
LeBrecq,
Yes.
and Vice Chair Ward.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you for your patience, Commissioner Furlong.
And I will get with Chair Cease and run all through this with her so she can write the letter. Moving on, informational items and report, no action required. Apparently there are none. Citizen comments.
There are no citizen comments for the end.
Commission or administration comments and response to citizen comments. So this is our opportunity. Commissioner Benoit, do you have any comments you want to make?
yes, like I said before, I was very excited about the citizen comments that we had, and I really look forward to working with the schools if we decide we want to go forward and do something with walkable murals in the historic district. And I think it could just be a great opportunity to work together. And thank you so much for taking the time to read the information in the packets and get excited about what we're doing and contributing your thoughts. So I appreciate that.
Commissioner LeBrecq. Is he muted? Commissioner LeBrecq, any comments?
Yes, definitely appreciate all the work of my fellow commissioners. Want to say a huge thank you to Karen. I thought she did a great, wonderful job with our meeting. Great job by you, Vice Chair, running a great meeting. And also wanted to extend in writing my congratulations to Deputy Clerk Stallard for her new position. Thank you, everyone, for your hard work. And thank you also, Ms. Kingsland, for giving this direction and support.
Commissioner Furlong?
yes, I feel the same way. I appreciate every present person's labor. I feel like it was a really good team effort, and I am grateful for everyone's part because we did a whole lot more than anyone could do alone. And I do have a comment. I don't want to start another conversation, but maybe we could visit about this next month in January. I noticed on this, there's on page 12, there's a 2021 Historic Preservation Commission priorities and schedule. And in February, there's a comment there to discuss and plan for Historic Preservation Month in May, starting in February. And all of a sudden when I read that, I thought, oh, what a wonderful opportunity for us to plan a way to include community in this interpretive sign project. If we could plan to have these signs physical in Seward in May, and May Day would be a wonderful day to do this, and just invite the public to come and peruse these signs instead of having to walk all over the place. They could maybe, if we could get a large enough space, then if we could invite the public to enjoy the new signs and perhaps at the same time some solicit digging help to install them. I just think that would be a good plan, and that would help give us the incentive to get these signs done by the 1st of May or the end of April. And then we'd have, hopefully, good time to get them in the ground by June 21st.
Thank you, Commissioner Furlong. This is Vice Chair Ward. I kind of echo Marianne, Commissioner Benoit. I'd like us to do something parallel with the walkable murals, the murals in the historic district, and work with the schools. I think that would be a nice parallel. It doesn't seem to require a whole lot other than maybe making a walking map. And that could be something parallel to go with our historic walking tour. I think they're excited and we're excited, so I'd like to keep that in the back of our planning. Also, I'd like to thank Marianne, Commissioner Benoit, Commissioner Lebrecq, and Commissioner Furlong for all the work they've done on the walking tour. I think we're going to make our deadlines because they're way ahead of the curve. And I will, I'm hoping for the next meeting, I'm going to get with Cheryl Cease, Chair Cease, and we'll get some of these letters that, the priorities and everything, getting those ready for approval in the January meeting so we can move on. She and I will do the groundwork behind the scenes. I really appreciate everybody who has contributed. Valerie, your advice is, as always, exemplary and something we need to hear. So thank you very much, Ms. Kingsland. You are greatly appreciated. Karen, do you have any comments you'd like to make? It does say administration, so that's you.
Thank you for everyone for making a quorum tonight.
And thank you for all your hard work. I believe that's the end of the agenda. I'm going to call the meeting to close. I can't see the clock because I don't have my glasses on, so somebody will have to note the time for me. Meeting stands adjourned.
7:50.
There you go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Well done.